Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tazra Mitchell.
Good morning. How is everybody? My name is Tazra Mitchell, and I'm a policy analyst at the North Carolina Budget and Tax Center, which is a project of the Justice Center. At our core, we're an anti-poverty organization who seeks to build an economy that works for all. We analyze and advocate for progressive public policies that build a more inclusive economy. Policies like living wage laws, an equitable tax code, and state budgets that adequately invest in ladders of opportunity and workers. And that's why I'm so proud today to introduce a man who is a true champion for workers and who has dedicated his career to making sure that every American has a shot to get ahead, a fair shot to get ahead. The labor of Secretary Thomas Perez. During his tenure as the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, he fought hard against the school-to-prison pipeline. He intervened against Arizona's anti-immigrant law, and he has challenged draconian voter ID laws across the nation. Now at the Department of Labor, Secretary Perez is a fierce advocate for economic justice for workers, taking aim at wage theft and seeking living wage policies and paid leave for all workers. In fact, just recently he helped expand overtime pay protections for workers because, as he said, a hard day's work deserves what? A fair day's pay. Please join me in welcoming the Secretary of Labor, Thomas Perez.
Good morning. It's great to be here. I feel like I'm in a group of serial activists. I like being around serial activists. And Tazra, thanks for your kind introduction. You know, you would expect from the Labor Secretary to hear a little talk about unions. I want to talk about unions. But it's a different kind of union that I'm going to talk about. And it includes what you're probably thinking, but it's a little bit more. Because you know, as I've reflected on my job and the privileges I've had in my job, not only here, but at the Department of Justice and with the state of Maryland and in local government, I have come to conclude that the most important dependent clause in the United States is the following clause, which was written many, many years ago. We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union. That is a profound statement. And I have come to reflect on that statement quite a bit because it really embodies what we're going to be doing here today, what we have been doing throughout this journey that we call the United States of America, and it embodies the work that lies ahead. And I have 3 tasks for you, okay? I want your help in defining and defending our progress. I want your help in defining our values, and I need your help in organizing. And I'm going to talk to you about all 3 of those things. Because, you know, I was at an event earlier this morning celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Again, an example. You know, we got to do a lot more to focus on the last 7 letters of that word and get rid of the first 3 letters. As Steny Hoyer, my friend from Maryland, said this morning, I wish we could rename it the Americans with Abilities Act because too many people, they focus on those first 3 letters. And the search for a more perfect union has been the search to acknowledge that you should never be judged by whether or not you have a disability. You should be judged by your ability. And I meet so many people who have enriched my life, have enriched America's lives. And that is the search for a more perfect union. And as we search for that more perfect union, I need your help, first of all, in defining and defending our progress. Because, you know, when the ADA was being debated 25 years ago, there were calamity howlers out there saying, oh my God, businesses will shut down. And what has happened Attitudinal barriers have been shutting down as we have moved forward. And we need your help in so many other areas to defend and define our progress, because we have come a long way. Thanks to you, we have Barack Obama as the President of the United States. I cannot tell you the number of people that I speak to across this country. The elderly African-American woman I met back in January when I was in South Carolina protesting the Confederate flag, who said to me, I never thought in my lifetime, Tom, that I would see an African-American president. That is a remarkable sign of our progress, and we need to defend it. That is a remarkable sign of where we have come as a nation, but we need your help. When President Obama took office, the 3 months before he took office, we hemorrhaged 2 million jobs in the greatest recession of our lifetime. And we have made tremendous progress. 64 months in a row of private sector job growth, 12.8 million jobs, thanks to the leadership of this president and the ingenuity of the American people and American business. And yet, we need to defend this progress against constant assaults. There is a relentless assault against collective bargaining. Public sector workers, firefighters, police officers, people who do so much work and make so little, school teachers. And we need to stand up for them, because there are people out there who appear to believe that the solution moving forward is to make sure that people have low wages and no benefits. That's not the America that you dream about. That's not the America this president dreams about. And we need to defend our progress, because you know what? When unions succeed, America succeeds. That's what we have been. When unions succeed, the middle class succeeds. And you don't have to take my word for it. If you have a union job now, you make on average more than $200 a week more than your non-union counterpart. That's the ticket to the middle class. We need your help to defend our progress. We need your help down in North Carolina, because as we speak right now, there's a trial underway in a voting rights case. And I had the privilege of hiring the person at DOJ who argued the opening statement in that case. And it's so unconscionably ironic that as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act, we are playing defense instead of offense. We're playing defense against these ill-conceived efforts to solve non-existent problems. I was involved in the Texas voter identification case. Where was the fraud? The answer is it was non-existent. It was a solution to a non-existent problem. And so we need to continue to defend our progress as a nation. The 50th anniversary, we should be working hard to make sure that every single person who's eligible to vote can get to vote. You know, somebody said to me once, I've done a lot of work on behalf of service members, and I'm damn proud of it, because I'm the son of a service member. And somebody once came up to me and said, Tom, why do you do so much work helping veterans get access to the ballot? You know, they're mostly Republicans. And I said two things. I'm offended by that comment. I don't care if they're Republicans or Democrats. They're doing such work for our nation. And we don't go anywhere. And we don't do anything. Our goal with the vote is to make sure that everyone who's eligible to vote casts that vote. We don't go after our perceived, and I underscore perceived because perceptions are often misperceptions. We don't go after our perceived ideological opponents and make it harder for them to vote. That's not who we are as a nation. So we need your help in defending our progress, defining what we've done. We need your help. We need your help in defending our progress on making sure that access to health care is here for everyone. Under this president, we have made tremendous progress. You know what? We have had 64 consecutive months of private sector job growth, and we've had about 60 votes in the House of Representatives to repeal the Affordable Care Act. That's the reality of where we're at. We need your help in defending the progress there. We need your help in so many areas. And the way that we get your help is to make sure you help us by defining our values. I used to teach at Maryland Law School, and I always challenged my students. I want you to go when you retire and be able to say that you have loved every job you've ever had. And the best way to do that is to get a job where you are living your values every single day. Now, that doesn't mean you'll love your job every single day, but when you can live your values and put your values into action every single day, then you know what happens? Happiest is the person whose job becomes their hobby because they never have to work a day in their life. And that's what you all are doing. And we need to define our values together as a nation, together as millennials. You have helped us as a nation define our values. There was a guy in the apartheid era. His name was the Reverend Leon Sullivan. He was an African-American minister. He was one of the first African-Americans to join a board of a Fortune 100 company. And he did a lot of anti-apartheid activism. And he devised what became known as the Sullivan Principles. And these principles took off. They catalyzed activism on college campuses across this country. They catalyzed activism in corporate boards across this country. A simple code of conduct for companies and nations where they do business, including equal pay, non-segregation, training opportunities, quality of life in housing, education, and health. And those Sullivan principles were transformational. And so as we move forward, we need to put our values into action. We need a set of millennial principles that will help us guide the work that's ahead. And you know what? You've been putting those principles into action. Principle number 1, zip code should never determine destiny. I spend a lot of time right now in Baltimore City, and I'll never forget the young man I met, a high school junior at Frederick Douglass High School, who said, you know what? I want AP courses. I want access to opportunity. I got game, and I don't have that access, and we're going to get him that access. Zip code should never determine destiny. Principle number 2, no matter where you were born, no matter who you love, no matter who you worship, if you work hard and play by the rules, the sky's the limit. That's the work that you have done on marriage equality. That's the work you have done on religious freedom. You have been leaders in this, and you have done more. I have never seen an issue move faster than the issue of equality for our LGBT brothers and sisters, and it's thanks to you. You put your values into action. That is an important value. Value number 3, principle number 3. If you work a full-time job in this country, you shouldn't have to rely on public assistance to feed your family. That was the basic premise of the Fair Labor Standards Act. That's the basic premise of who we are as a nation. We reward hard work with a fair wage. And there are so many companies out there that recognize that they have a stakeholder model of governance. It's not an either-or choice. That's principle number 4. We reject false choices. It's not either take care of your shareholder or take care of your worker or take care of your customer. You can do all 3 of those, and so many businesses do all 3 of those. You do not balance your budget on the backs of your workers. Smart companies like Costco understand that. They understand that you pay your workers well, you do well by your shareholders, you do well by your customers. So we need to reject false choices. You go into a community like Ferguson, you don't say it's either safeguard the Constitution or keep the streets safe. That's a false choice. We can respect the Constitution and promote policing that is safe and sound and effective. So that's another principle. America works best when we field a full team. When we understand that ability is the most important word in disability. When we understand that when we harness the energy of people and recognize the education dividend, we build a virtuous cycle. Another principle. And one other principle, you know what? If you really think families first, well then put those values into action. We need paid leave laws. We need sensible child care. We need you to help on that. Because you know what? This nation leads on so many things. We lead the world on disability rights, although we still have work to do. But we do not lead on leave. And I am constantly thinking about this woman I met in Connecticut recently. She drives a school bus. She gave birth to her second child. Her husband had had an accident. He wasn't able to work. And she had no paid leave. And what did she do with her newborn? She brought him on the bus with her every day. 6-week-old kid on the bus while you're picking up kids. That's not who we are as a nation. That's inconsistent with our values and principles. So these millennial principles, we need your help. And the final and perhaps most important millennial principle is to remember what the president said when he was down in Selma a few months ago to celebrate the 50th anniversary, commemorate the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. And this gets back to what my first point was. The most important word in a democracy is the word we. There is so much we can do when we work together. There is so much that we can do when we recognize that, you know what, if you blow out your neighbor's candle, that does not make your candle shine brighter. There is so much that we can do when we harness the power of the people in this room. And that is my last point. Organize. How did they succeed in passing the Voting Rights Act 50 years ago? How did they succeed in passing the ADA 25 years ago? How did they succeed in doing all these pieces of labor rights work? Whether it was the FLSA, they succeeded because ordinary people did extraordinary things. Ordinary people organized. Ordinary people came together around a vision of an America that works for everybody. An inclusive America. An America in which we understand that the Gilded Age was not a golden age. An America where, as Senator Warren said, trickle-down economics works for a few folks at the top, but it sure doesn't trickle down for anyone else. An America in which we understand that movements are what make us succeed. Now, the reality of where we are at on organizing is we will be outspent pretty regularly. And here's the good news. That doesn't matter, folks, because we have the facts on our side. We have the values that are quintessentially American on our side. And when we continue to organize, we produce an America that reflects those values. You know, America is the son of a short order cook and a house cleaner who graduates from MIT. His name is Alex Padilla. He's a good friend of mine. He's now the Secretary of State of California. Only in America can that happen. America is the young woman who can bond with her child because she has paid leave and can stay home during the most important point in her child's life. America are the dreamers who understand that when we pass comprehensive immigration reform, we build a better America. You know, as the president said, Dreamer is more than just a title for 600,000 young people. It's a pretty damn good description of what it means to be an American. America is defined by those who dared to dream. America is people like Lance Corporal Jose Gutierrez, an undocumented immigrant from Guatemala who came to this country, adjusted his status, fought in the U.S. Army, made the ultimate sacrifice, got his citizenship posthumously. That's who America is, folks. And we need you to organize around that. America is the place where we put the Confederate flag away because you organize around that. America is the place where people can go to their PTA meeting of their kids, or can go to their kids' softball game or baseball game or show because they don't have to work 3 jobs anymore. That's the America that we envision, and we need your help. So we need you to organize. We will be outspent, but the moral arc of the universe, it is long and it bends toward justice. But folks, It does not bend on its own. We may see that these truths are self-evident, but you know what, folks? They are not self-executing. They execute when we organize. They execute when we mobilize the collective power of we. They recognize when we recognize that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. And you are leading the way. You know what? I'm getting old here. I got a replacement part. I walk slower. And you know what? I leave you with a remarkable amount of optimism. And I leave with optimism because I see in the faces and voices and body language in this room an America that is well positioned to put our shared values of inclusion and opportunity into action. But we need your help in continuing to bend that arc. We need your help in Ferguson. We need your help in Baltimore. We need your help across this country. We need you to organize, and there will be days when you will fall down. But you know what the song says, when we fall down, we get up. That's what we do, and we get up stronger. And we need you to do what John Lewis told his parents that he was doing. When he went down to South Carolina to organize back in the day, his parents were worried about him. They said, John, you're causing trouble. And he said, no, Mama. No, Dad, I'm causing good trouble. That's what y'all are doing. We need you to keep causing good trouble. Good trouble on behalf of working families. Good trouble on behalf of those who are living in the shadows. Good trouble on behalf of an inclusive America that works for everyone. An America that rewards hard work. An America that reflects the values of opportunity. I am confident that we will continue to build that America. But I need your help to define and defend. I need your help to put your values into action, and I need your help to organize. Thank you very much.